So anyway, yeah, try not to run me over, okay? So anyway, I was in contact with, well, my case officer today, like I usually do every day, several times a day sometimes. Anyway, my case officer told me to do something, which I thought was very strange. He told me to do something yesterday that was strange too, which I did. Kind of like, we kind of like work in tandem. So anyway, but my case officer tries to do these things because, well, my case officer wants to protect me. Well, and let me do my job. Sometimes they kind of work sympathetically, let's say, like doing my job and protecting myself. Kind of like work hand in hand. I mean, really. So that's it. Anyway, I wish I spoke Chinese or something. Somebody showed me a map. It was Chinese. I don't know. It was for Seattle, but I don't speak Chinese. Maybe I did at one time, but I don't remember. I forget a lot of things. Yeah. Sometimes I forget who I am. Who is the real me? But anyway, so essentially I was running an ops yesterday. Running an ops in the sense that there was an interaction between me and other, well, operations officers and allied personnel in the field. The field in this case being Seattle, Washington, USA. And same thing today. Another set of ops. One thing we've been trying to figure out is how to practically deal with the fairly sizable gap in security. I mean, trying to think of a film. Anyway, one of the films that come to mind, which I didn't actually see, is called Safe House, starring Denzel Washington. Anyway, and I saw the poster, on the cinema. It said no one is safe, which is true. No, there is no safe place. No one is safe. Not in this world. So, but we're trying to, me and personnel in the agency, the CIA. I've been dealing with, the problem of how to practically work around, to some extent, the fairly sizable holes that have been poked into our communications network. I mean, I can communicate in the clear, that is, in clear. There's actually a French word for that. Right, so I'm doing this on the internet. I put this on YouTube. So it's like in clear. Yeah. And now sometimes I send messages that should be considered, well, secure, but they're not. Because they're electronic. Anything that's transmitted electronically can be accessed. Any computer. I thought this was false. I thought you could secure your computer. You could prevent people from hacking your computer, but you can't. You really can't. There's no way to protect yourself from being hacked. Ultimately, everyone gets hacked. Right? Every message that you ever send or ever will send can be read. Any computer that you have, any computer, I don't care if it's buried in fucking Fort Knox, it can be accessed. There's nothing secure. I mean, literally, it's as if you could lock something tight in your fucking head and still it can be accessed. There's just no safe place. So, that being said, which is goddamn light here. That being said, with that utter lack of security, I mean absolute utter lack of security, you have to kind of work around it. You know, you have to figure out, like, given the fact that the motherfuckers can get through any fucking tight security that you can offer, well, what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? You're just going to stop communicating? No, that seems ill-advised. You could. I mean, there are, in fact, cells that remain dormant, literally, I mean, deep underground. I mean, Al-Qaeda used to do this. Soviets used to do this. They had sleeper agents. Right? There was supposed to be this X-Day. This X-Day was supposed to be a time when all the sleeper agents would be woken up. Right? They would all rise from their slumber and realize they're sleeper agents. I don't know. This is what's been offered. Whether or not it's true, I think it's true. I think there really are sleeper agents. But anyway, but you could have like really, really deeply buried, agents, cells, really, that would only become active on a certain conditions were to arise. Certain conditions were to arise, then they would become active. Well, you can do that. But if you want a dynamic system, then what you want is to be able to communicate in a fairly regular way, consistently. You know what that is? That is these fucking goddamn vehicles that go around in tourist conveyances. Go around in sort of a ludicrous way, so that you can, see things. Look, I can see things. Right. They have them in Boston. They have them in other cities, dude. And here in Seattle, they have them. In the summer, they're very active. I just saw one going that way, and I just saw one going that way. I think what street? I see this is Taylor Avenue North. That's one street. And what's the other? Broad Street. I'm on Broad Street and Taylor Avenue North. It's the intersection right now. The time is about, not quite 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, in effect, there is no perfect security. Right. So what you do is you communicate with the realization that, except for small, unusual occurrences when you would not be able, they would not be able to listen to your conversation or hear literally your thoughts, so to speak. You could almost put it in those graphic terms. Then basically, essentially, you're always being monitored. Every fucking second of the fucking day. Being monitored. Every goddamn day. So, now there was a notation somewhere. It was said that the Soviets were concerned about, the Soviet KGB types were concerned about the FBI, people and the CIA people and whoever else were following them, monitoring their activities. And the only place they felt safe, at least in some sense in Seattle, is on the Space Needle. They got up on top of the Space Needle, they felt safe. I don't know, for some reason, they felt safe. There was this movie called Seven, anyway, and there's also a movie called Eagle Eye. In both instances, there's a portion of the movie where the action moves to pretty much a power grid substation. And anyway, and the idea is that you can disrupt, monitoring activities by getting close to, high voltage wires. And maybe that's true. I don't know. Maybe they could still be penetrated. Besides, who do you know you're with? How can you be sure that the person with you, if there is a person with you, is not working for the adversary, for somebody that has designs to hurt you or kill you or destroy what you love? What do I love? I love the United States of America. I love freedom. I love justice. I love righteousness. I do. Now, I describe myself as Satan, and that's true. I do that on a fairly consistent basis. Yes, there I am. I'm Satan. But that being said, I still value righteousness. I really do. For me, righteousness is paramount. So, to not go too long-winded on this, we in the CIA, other parts of the intelligence community in the United States, try to keep ourselves safe. We can't keep ourselves perfectly safe. Sometimes, some of us die. It might look like we die of natural causes. It might look like we, just have an accident. But in reality, we're always susceptible to, murder, most foul. I'm walking down a deserted road right now along an interstate. Above me is not too far from me is an airplane. There's a helicopter. It's like one of those news choppers. Yeah, but I could be killed. I mean, somebody with a high-powered rifle could have me in their sights right now. I'm walking down the street. I mean, they could shoot me. And then, all right, so they shoot me. Nobody hears the shot. Let's say that. And then let's say, I'm lying in the street and nobody sees me. I'm dead. But just to cover it up, they might have a really large truck that they decide to utilize. Say a cement truck or some large vehicle. They'll just come by and run me over. I'd be dead, but they'd run me over. So it'd be hard to tell what I really died of. Did I die of? It looks like I died because I was hit by a truck. Well, I have documented, there's been documentation that I have a drinking problem, which my drinking problem is mostly because, it aids me to drink on occasion, periodically. The reason it does is because, to be honest with you, it keeps some of the ill effects of what I call the unknown terror network. That's what we call it. I call it. I mean, my name is as good as anyone's. There's a movie called Quantum of Solace, a James Bond movie. And in the film, at the beginning of the film, this person is snatched and at some point starts bragging about that they don't know anything about them. They're everywhere, but they don't know anything about them, which is true. And that's the way it is with the unknowns. I mean, we don't know nothing about them. I mean, we didn't, now we do. So, just like that. It's like Al-Qaeda existed. But then, probably around the turn of the century, that is, when the 21st century came into being, that is, we went from the 20th century to the 21st century. Well, essentially,